GSL Super Tournament, Season 1.
Well, that video really showed it all, didn't it? 15 badasses and trust here in the GSL Super Tournament.
Dude, we're finally back at another Super Tournament. This is one of my favorite tournaments to do. And we do a lot of casting all over the place.
Yeah.
But I really like this one. It's super cool. Kind of on home turf, I think, where we cast best in our own studio. But we get to marathon through all these great players in just 4 days. So it's a lot of fun. We get some people that come down here for every day of this tournament and kind of get to see everything unfold.
Well, it's good to be back. Should, because we have 4 best-of-5s today, right? In this round of 16, so we're already past that round of 32. Crap from other GSL tournaments, right? Yeah. So we get 4 best-of-5s, and then guess what? We get the next day another 4 best-of-5s, and then you're like, well, it couldn't get better. It's probably the same. It's probably just another 4 best-of-5s.
Day 3 does get better.
Because it's the winners.
And then day 4, what happens? Do you know?
Is it 2 best-of-5s and a best-of-7, and we make a champion? Oh, my God.
Pretty crazy. So mark this down. It is an hour and a half earlier than when we normally start GSL because these days tend to be longer than the normal days we have here. So don't miss out. Tell your friends to join us. There's actually been so much StarCraft 2 going on. I just got back in under 48 hours ago. And it's crazy how much StarCraft is constantly going on. Nation Wars as well. But don't miss out on this. This is it should be called the special tournament, not the super tournament. Because it is so special.
It truly is special, but it's super good too, isn't it? Okay, well, here's the summary, guys. Round of 4 in finals on Sunday, of course. A bunch of money, a lot of points. Very important points, don't forget.
WCS points.
Yeah, this was what decided Rogue getting in last year, and he won the whole BlizzCon, right? So the WCS points that you see here are actually very important. We normally have it pretty neck and neck at the end of the year. So Super Tournament, definitely one you got to do well in. And I'm looking at Hero, who actually won Super Tournament 1 last year. He failed to make it into Code S Season 2, which is wild, right? And so he needs to do well here, I think.
It's funny because, at least by Korea standards, this tournament just gets done so quickly, and then the landscape of the WCS points has radically shifted as we get closer and closer to the very end of the year where we actually declare the world champion.
Here's our map pool. It is the ladder maps and Darkness Sanctuary instead of a Biogenesis.
That's right.
No one wants to play on that map.
Again, no groups in the Super Tournament. We're taking a different format, a bit of an old school approach. So right off the bat, you have to be ready with a best-of-5. Now, this is not normal for Korea standards. In Korea, normally you have like a week or sometimes even 2 or 3 weeks for your match, whether it's against 1 player or up to 3 because you're in a group, of course. So it's going to be cool, especially after today, to see how the players prepare for this because they really have to have everything sanded down perfectly if you're gonna come out on top. You have to be basically insanely solid in long drawn out matches. Yeah. Where otherwise people go back, they prep, they grind a specific matchup out for a week or more, and get ready. And it's really fun. And we've had some interesting players come out on top of lives, done very well in Super Tournaments. Yeah. Not that he hasn't done well in GSL Code S, but I think he's performed much better. Hero quite dominant. This is also where Rogue really made his breakout of actually being the best Zerg and has continued to dominate ever since then. By the way, guys, if you're in the studio, welcome. But also stay after the show's done. There are giveaways.
Yes, quite a few giveaways and really good stuff, too. And I saw that GSL Gaming mousepad, and I saw that some of them were like signed by Maru and stuff. Man, I would like one of those, actually. Look pretty nice. Here are the brackets, guys. look at those crazy, 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 crazy brackets. Like, every match here is a dream matchup. And I tell you, I look at this, I think if soO takes down Maru Tasteless, he's going to get to the finals and lose there, and not because of any curse stuff. But when I look at this bracket, I could see soO doing some very good things here. But he has to get through Maru, who's like the hottest player in the world right now.
Our other matchups are Classic versus SOS, a nice mirror matchup. Dark versus Alive. Alive, again, performing very well in the Super Tournament. But Dark, definitely a very scary Zerg to go up against no matter what race you are. And then we ended off with True versus Trust.
Yeah, True versus Trust, kind of the two guys that you might not expect to be here, but True's in very good form right now. It's really cool to see.
I think this is actually a somewhat even matchup for these two guys.
Yeah, I think so. Trust has been playing well lately, to be honest.
Yeah.
And True is taking it really seriously right now, deciding to go ahead, all in, play GSL. And here he is in Super Tournament as well, and he's going to be in Code S next season. So looking forward to seeing him kind of revitalized right now.
I like that splash graphic we got going on there. We don't normally do that. Maru, maybe you guys saw this thing called the GSL Code S Finals. Turns out he did very well in that.
Yeah, he did all right. Also in WESG, so he's now the #1 prize winner in the world.
That's right.
And, of course, he got top 4 over at Katowice. So Maru is just on fire right now. He's already locked into BlizzCon and all that good stuff. And definitely one of the favorites, but he has had so many high-profile matches. And when this happens, sometimes the player just kind of drops. Like, soO should be really prepared for Maru, even though Maru is unbelievably good right now. Yeah. So I think that just makes this a fantastic match. Like, I think Maru should be favored, but just the way things normally go and how strong of a player soO is, I could not make a better matchup right now. Like, I don't even want to see Dark versus Maru again right now. I want to see soO versus Maru.
By the way, soO rocking the turtleneck. Keep that neck nice and warm, Artosis. So that blood can get to his brain. And back to his hands.
Yeah, well, especially to those hands. He needs those hands to be warmed up. This is going to be a great match right here. Like, seriously, one of the...
I think two of the most charismatic players, and not just StarCraft 2, but all of esports. soO, a really funny guy, a bit self-deprecating, a phenomenal Zerg player. Now, this is a pretty big challenge for soO. He normally, I'm not even trying to be funny here, because I know there's going to be too many people like, oh, LXD! But he normally does get to the finals, and he doesn't actually win the whole thing. But I don't know if he can actually beat Maru. Maru is, I think, in final form.
Yeah, Maru is pretty damn awesome right now. But if soO wins this, I do think he's favored to get to the finals. If you look at his bracket, everyone else in this bracket are players that I actually expect him to beat. So this is like a really big match for that reason. Whereas the other matches, like, yeah, I mean, anything could go any way. But, like, for instance, if Maru wins this, I don't think he's favored to get to the finals. He has to play Classic or SOS next. Who knows, man, with that. That's crazy. It's a different matchup. They're different players. But, yeah, this is... enough of that. I mean, this is just sick. I'm so excited. Super Tournament's so much fun.
We are moments away from starting our first game. Again, it is a best of 5. No best of 3s here in the Super Tournament.
Best of 3s. Garbage taste.
I know. What are we doing with best of 3s? We got to step it all the way up, man. Best of 7s the whole way through. And then in the finals, it's first to 100 wins.
First to 100 wins. Oh, my God.
Go back on to being on camera. It's just 2 skeletons there. Our game started up. Let's do this. Maru versus soO in our first best of 5 here at the GSL Super Tournament. At the GSL Super Tournament. I thought it was going to start fast with that. Let's go.
GSL Super Tournament, Season 1, Round of 16.
Look at this.
Match 1.
Oh my God.
I think we just mixed it up.
This production
This is just off the hook.
This production is insane. This is already the best production we've ever had.
Jin Air Green Wings, Maru.
We've changed the voice a little bit.
Yeah, we have
It's more of like a kind of a passive dead ghost telling you about StarCraft 2.
Okay.
The graphics changed a little bit. The background's a little bit brighter. Get ready for it. He died a long time ago.
soO.
And his ghost still haunts the studio today.
Wow. What do you think, Tasteless?
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah. I'm so stoked. I love that we have 2 Super Tournaments every year. It's such a nice way to spice things up. And and like have them kind of in between the GSL, because like Code S is our bread and butter, no doubt. The bread and butter of StarCraft 2, in fact, the meat and potatoes, indeed. The popsicle on a summer day.
That's
okay?
right.
It's the cold glass of lemonade that you get for just a nickel, because those kids don't know how to market themselves correctly.
It's the cupcakes you get from Grandma right when you get home from school.
Man, it really is all those things and more. But Super Tournament, it is a nice way to change things up.
That's right. And especially to start off with these two players.
You know how excited I am right now? I'm like super giddy, but the only way I can explain my level of excitement for this tournament, like I'm actually smiling, but like I'm more excited than Maynard. That's the only way to explain this right now.
It's not hard to be excited when you've got two great players like soO and Maru batting it out.
Oh,
in the Super Tournament.
He's right too. God. It's like we're taking all my favorite superheroes and we're making them play best of fives.
But we're making them cross over in comic books, so it's like Magneto actually gets to fight Batman. What? Isn't that illegal?
That's the only crossover, though, because all the other DC heroes suck.
Who else was a DC hero?
A bunch of crap.
Batman,
ones.
well, and then all the villains.
Superman, Green Lantern.
I call it Green Lantern.
Green Lanyard.
I actually can't think of anybody.
Yeah, because they're all garbage. It's a terrible franchise.
There was a third one, too, right?
Company.
There was a third a comic book franchise that's even less talked about, like Vertigo or something like that.
Oh, there's like a ton in DC. DC does have
No,
a ton.
there was a third comic book franchise.
Was
that
there?
actually, yeah. I think access to Sandman.
Well, that already sounds better than DC to me. Except for
I'm trying
Batman,
to
which is
think.
basically the best hero of all time.
Somebody tweeted me other DC characters.
Wonder Woman.
That we can use that. Oh, that's right. Wonder Woman, for sure.
Yeah.
Not exactly an exciting superhero, kind of like Superman.
She's better than Superman, for sure.
Yeah, I think, well, I know that you're not a Superman fan, but it was so old that I can kind of forgive it.
Yeah.
Because it was sort of
absolutely.
If you're like, well, what do you think about Doom 1? Like the very first Doom?
Great game.
It's like, oh yeah, it's a good game, but then if you look at the modern stuff, it's like, well, you probably play one over the other. Wow, that Reaper got away.
Yeah, it shouldn't have. But yeah, no, I agree with you on that in that way. That it's so old that you can forgive it. It was like kind of starting superheroes in a way. But anyways, enough of that. 2-1-1 on the way. Double Medivac Stim coming out of Maru. So a nice little opener to be seeing here on Acid Plant. soO, on the other hand, nothing weird coming out of him so far. Thrown up in an Evo, so I guess this is just to go ahead and start some carapace, if I had to guess.
Looks like it. Stim, about halfway done here. As soO is taking not the expansion to the very top center, but the one that's a little bit closer to the middle here. That may be more pushable. We'll have to see. If there's anybody who can push it, would be Maru for sure.
You know what, Nick? This is really interesting that he's actually walking out these Marines right now.
You called me Nick in the broadcast. That's it. You never call me Nick.
No?
Yeah. I think it's because
that's how excited I am.
We just did that couch segment actually at this SC20 thing, so maybe that's what happened. Hey, Control is calling everybody by their first name.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know. For me, Dan and Artosis are actually the same thing, and Nick and Tasteless are the same thing, and Tasseless is the same thing, and like, it doesn't make any difference.
Artie, stuff like that.
Yeah.
We're beginning I'm sorry, did you have something to say before I jump on this? Go ahead.
I just wanted to say, the fact that he moved that far out with Marines is not something you normally see before this draw. Look at this. The thing is, he cleared the path, and all the queens are out of position, and now he gets to just go into the main base, but there's so many lings, I don't think he really gets anything done, does he?
Yeah, it's very important that you actually manage this first wave here.
Oh.
Damaging both of those Medivacs might cause Maru to have no effect here in this initial push. So he's going to unload here. Now, we've seen games where Maru, Innovation as well, someone that definitely comes to mind, actually break Zergs down because they just drop and hit these various locations, and occasionally one or two queens is gunned down, and it's like a snowball effect almost. Now, he's going to come in here. Again, he has to be careful with the Medivacs. The queens, if they get the opportunity to, they will target down that Medivac. And from there, then the Lings come in and swallow up all the rest of the Marines. So there's a big drop coming up here. I believe Maru actually did it without being detected.
Oh my gosh. All the units way out of position. Now that it's 3 Medivacs, he really has to bring a lot up here to deal with this. Ling's getting up on top of those Marines, but have to pull back. There's even a Widow Mine in here, so going to make it even harder Oh my god, soO taking so much damage right now. Going to lose that spawning pool.
So this is what I was talking about earlier, where occasionally we'll see them come in here and just do so much damage. He's going to get the layer, dude.
No, he's not. No way.
Hold on, he did it just right with the burrowing of that Widow Mine. Oh! Okay, did not connect on the Lings. It had to connect on those Lings, and he might have actually been able to curb that a little bit better. But the Lings actually darted forward very intentionally by soO to avoid that shot, and that actually forced Maru out. Now, a spawning pool was destroyed, so that's being remade. So there's kind of an awkward moment where soO might not be able to make the necessary defenses if Maru keeps attacking like we're seeing here right now.
Man, he's really doing a great job microing this so far. Yeah, just as I say that, of course, it goes a little bit wrong. By the way, when they fly over these smokestacks, since this is Acid Plant, I feel like the medevac should take damage. Just saying. I think the map would be more interesting. Map makers, get on it.
So this map is called Acid Plant, so there's just one plant that makes all the acid that they're fighting over. So this is really a war over acid.
Like, God, you know what we need is acid.
That's right. So now Maru does take his third base. He wasn't completely leaning into this push. Sometimes we'll see them go so hard with the pushes, they actually take the main command center when that's all mined out and relocate that there. So tempo-wise, Maru's actually keeping it pretty moderate. And a little scan here is really Maru doing a phenomenal job of just keeping the Zerg under control. Whoa, overextension there by soO. Loses one queen, energy not that full on all of these. And with these Widowmine connections, I think Maru can actually keep pressing the issue.
Well, some Hydras popping out right now as well, so it's getting a little bit harder. Ooh, does force a cancel on that fourth base, so that's really strong considering he has a third. Definitely Maru in a nice spot right now, but because Hydra Bane is the comp he's going for, soO that is, as he gets into that, it becomes harder to use this type of bio mine play. Right. Hydraling Bane is very, very good against straight-up bio and Widow mines.
Another step forward here, stutter stepping backwards.
Ooh, that micro.
He's so good.
Yeah.
Now, the follow-up push, you can see soO's just trying to drive this out, but this is just going to merge back in with the rest of this army. Maru really pushing everywhere. It does look like a supercomputer. Oh, until that happened.
Well, with those Hydras out, it gets harder and harder to make the Widow mines actually connect. But he has kind of committed into this style of play. Just so many Marines and Widow mines, not a single siege tank out, which is your normal play against this. But since he's kept soO off of a fourth base, he definitely has a chance to make this comp work.
Rabies tearing over here. He's picking up now and going into the main. He is not slowing down at all. Even with the Spore here, it dives right on top of this. In fact, I think the medevac, just barely lives through this. This is crazy play here. Look at this. Targets that down. Still a real threat here. Now, soO cannot stay on 4 bases for much longer. Or 3 bases, excuse me. What I meant to say is he needs to get a 4th base up here.
Wow. Look at this. Just dealing so much damage. Picking off a bunch of high-energy queens. He's everywhere right now. Another little set of Marines there harassing in the natural.
You can tell how effective this is by the supply alone because he's outgrowing his opponent at such an incredible rate. I feel like even though soO's beginning to catch up, if Maru can maintain this kind of pressure, soO's just going to tip over. There's going to be some kind of point where he just doesn't quite have enough in this game abruptly ends.
You could be right about that, but I can still see a chance here for soO for real because he is going Hydras, and his Hydras count is rising and rising and rising. And eventually against that, the Marines really don't work as well anymore, especially with this +2 carapace finishing up.
Sure.
I know that 2-2 is finishing for Maru, so that's definitely very important, but there is a chance here for soO just based off of composition, even though in every way that I'm looking at, Maru's winning.
Yeah. No, you're right. There is a chance, but I get scared for Zerg when I see Maru taking his 4th base. I believe that he just sent SCVs there, so it actually finished before his opponents. So soO's going to try to really seesaw this game, make a ton of banelings, and I think try to go for a bust. He's going for the base, right? Yeah, well, he's got to attack. He's been sitting on 3 bases for 100 years right now. He's got a ton of Hydras. He just finished his +2 carapace. His position will not get better than it is right now. So he's going to go right for the heart here. And Maru says, fine by me. He's coming forward now. No, Maru's actually attacking the 3rd base here. We have the 3rd base and Maru's being hit here. This could be kind of base tradey. I don't think it's necessarily going to be full-on base trade, but... Well, Maru's going to lose 2 of his bases here, but if he can kill 2 bases, then he should end up winning this game, I would say, right? But a lot of Banelings being morphed, like, the thing is, I don't think that Zerg breaks Terran's 2nd
You don't think he breaks it?
I don't think so.
It's a lot of Hydras. It's actually quite a few Hydras.
Does he actually have enough? Let's see when these Widow Mines can possibly connect up here.
Gotta be careful with those Widow Mines.
Oh, God.
He could just like tank those Widow Mine hits, maybe. I don't know what happened over here. We had a ton of Banelings morphing, but I don't see any. So maybe they all died?
Were they not morphing at the place he was pushing it over here?
Yeah, they were. I wonder if he got up and killed him or something.
Maybe canceled him, I'm not sure.
Well, Maru's killing just about everything, so soO needs to kill just about everything as well.
So Maru just needs to seal himself inside of his base and try to wait for the storm to end.
If only soO had recall.
That's right. I think this is GG. Let's just see if soO can break him, but pretty much there's not much else.
Yeah, he's got to try it.
And trying to come up this bottleneck here is a pretty tall order.
Oh my God. Like, he just barely doesn't have enough. Yeah, it looks like Maru should hold right there.
Wow, GG, great game. Maru takes game 1.
Look, and here's the thing. That was really good. Maru did a great job. And that was killer instinct right there, because if his whole army is at home, like, I don't think he dies, but he doesn't kill any of soO's bases there, and I think soO still kills 2 bases. So,
yeah.
soO, like, hit the attack as he needed to, but he took too much damage early on, and Maru, like, that was, like, a beautiful use of the strength of, like, tempo and the way that, like, he had this kind of advantage. Maru had this advantage where he kept him down to 3 bases, and he was very mobile. He was already out the map, and so, like, he forced a victory there, but soO made it very close. That was a great game.
So we're going to go into game number 2. It is on the map Blackpink. Now, I do wonder, is this going to be a 3-0? I think Maru was a really dominant force. I think soO took a really bad situation and did the very best he could with it. And he pretty much forced Maru to kind of fold into his main base.
Yeah.
But Maru definitely had the calculus there as I think maybe the best Terran in the whole world right now. That's fair to say, with his 2 recent victories in tournaments. That he saw that easy peasy he holds that. A win is a win, doesn't matter how it closes out. And that was one where they were both just consuming each other's bases in such a crazy rate.
Round of 16. Match 1.
Okay, the voice is done talking. So, we hop right into game 2 now.
Jin Air Green Wings. Maru.
He did look great that game. And the thing is, a 3-0 seems pretty difficult, but then again, you know, looking at this map on Blackpink,
soO.
Zergs in general, it feels to me like have a kind of hard time here. Like the story's always the same. The 4th base dies to 2 siege tanks and a bunch of Marines.
Yeah.
So, I mean, is that what we're going to see? Like Maru definitely does that a lot here as well. The thing is, when we saw Dark play him here, what a game that was.
It was.
My God, that was such a good game. But Dark just kept taking, like, he's like, okay, yeah, that base is dead, but I took another base over here, and that's far away. And, you know, it just kind of went back and forth, back and forth, back and forth until Maru finally got that advantage. But, yeah, I'm not sure what soO's plan will be to deal with that on this map. You never know. He might mix in, like, a cheese. He might just go for a different type of composition.
It was really the raw strength of Maru's pushes that impressed me in that game 1. The fact that, like, soO knows what Maru's trying to do, okay? At this level of play, you don't see Maru pick up and the Zerg player goes, oh, I didn't think of that. That's not what's happening here. No, in fact, Maru could basically tell soO in advance what kind of technique he's going to use, and he can basically still beat you with it.
Yeah. Well, he's going for that 2nd barracks again, so it does look to me like it's going to be the 2-on-1 once again.
Mm-hmm.
The double medevac stim timing. And
this is, by the way, if you want to copy builds as Terran, I'd say the best one to do for laddering. This is the one you want to go for.
Yeah, Byun really brought it to quite a bit of popularity during his year of dominance. Well, I guess it wasn't a year; it was like 4 months. But you know, you got to have good micro. It definitely lets you practice that and you're multitasking. But it's a very good build, and we see it pop up and go away from time to time. Cool to see him use it twice right in a row here. Kind of interested in that. By the way, Byun did qualify for this tournament. I'm super stoked for that, even though I think it's a hard match for him, but we'll see that tomorrow.
This Reaper eking out as much damage as possible. It is driven away by the Queen. And we're getting into a pretty ordinary, I'd say, middle of the road TVZ. Again, the Zerg's burden always to react, unless something like a Nidus Worm, all in, or whatever, Baneling Buster, you name it. Actually, I can't believe he actually got the block with the 3 lings.
Yeah, that was great.
Usually you need 4 just to make sure it happens there, but he actually got it up, which is pretty impressive. So, what was I talking about? Oh, yeah. Usually the Zerg's job is to react unless they really have some very specific timing.
Ooh, look at that
Good
catch.
Yeah. Well, I guess in some ways that's one of the things the Reaper can kind of do there, is you at least see that there's lings and there's attention being devoted to defending that. Not that 3 lings is a lot or anything, but then you probably feel a little bit more comfortable coming out with those Marines on the map and gunning that down.
If there's like 8 speedlings out there and you lose those 3 Marines and you don't kill the Overlord, that's about the worst case scenario, right?
Right.
Or even a counterattack in your natural, but the Reaper definitely keeps tabs, so that's great. Looks like exactly the same build from both sides here. Additional Queens coming up. He's going to be starting his +1 Carapace soon. Will Maru be able to get damage done as easily here? Now, I was talking about some other things that occur on this map that can make it a little bit difficult. Those pushes on the 4th base, those are generally involving siege tanks. They don't have to, but he's not going to be going for that this time. Whereas, but for this type of attack, the way that he was getting damage last time, right? On Acid Planet, we saw soO take a base that was like in a triangle formation, right? If soO had taken the one that's like below his main, right? You see what I mean? Or above his main, I guess. It's below it on as far as elevation goes.
I get what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, that's somewhere where you could attack, right? You force units to be out there, then you pick up and boost into the main base, and you're there in like 2 seconds, and Zerg has to run all around. Here, they're all in a line, so there's no easy way for him to make a move like that. So against this initial push, soO should have a little bit more strength and stability.
Maru now coming out, headed southbound, navigating around the well, spoke too soon. So it is spotted by the watchtower. And we'll see if that was actually a mistake there by just getting that a little bit too close.
Well, he's definitely not going to do anything with this first drop-off.
So he drives him back there. Now, most likely, Maru will try to push the creep tumors. Now, soO's actually got a pretty good creep spread. It's going to be more difficult than some of the other ZVTs we've seen here for the Terran to actually take out the creep spread, since it's going in 3 very specific directions, soon to be 4. And he hasn't really denied anything yet. So this is generally an indicator that Terran would have a harder time doing a direct push through later on. A lot of the creep spread is insurance, in a sense, for the later push from the Terran. You need that out there so that if the Terran does decide to push, and of course in this matchup it's an inevitability, you can buy time. You can definitely have something to cope with that.
Look at soO's defense so far here. You can really see the difference that is made upon having an expansion in a different spot. Maru having a much harder time actually getting any damage on, because every time he's on this low ground, what is he threatening? Only creep tumors. So even if he gets them, it's not the biggest deal in the world.
Oh my god, could not have been handled better here by Maru. Just out of range of the Queens. Now he's going to gun down the Banelings.
Oh, he's going to lose a...
It's okay.
At least one there, but...
That one did not have any Marines in it, right?
No, it did not.
So, that was a very good trade there for Maru. Maru definitely knows every inch of this map, because he fished those Zerglings out into this nook where the Zerglings are fighting while the the Queens are scrambling to try to catch up, because you need them comboed together. They have a lot of synergy in that sense. And he killed off a lot there. And of course getting some Banelings too. It doesn't seem like it's a lot, since the Baneling overall is fairly cheap, but it's a decent amount of gas for the Zerg.
Yeah, I mean, that was definitely a good move. But overall, definitely soO's in a much better spot than we saw previously, right? He hasn't taken too significant of damage. He hasn't really lost a drone yet. And Maru is staying on the same type of composition, whereas soO is going right into the Hydras again. So if he can actually get a 4th base up and get his macro flowing, the Marine Mine should not be able to do its job.
Okay, Maru's continuing to stim back. Now this should be more than enough to actually make Maru pick up. Wow, he's really... I'm almost speechless as I'm watching this. He's able to center step this well.
Jeez.
Sometimes I feel like as a caster I can kind of preempt in my casting when they're going to pick up, since it usually seems to be fairly obvious, but not this time. He's doing a lot with a little here. Again, each time those banelings are sniped off, it gives Maru a little bit more punch when the actual push commences. Actually, I want to clarify something. There's not always an actual push. You're kind of putting out feelers every time you attack in here, and you're waiting for a really bad exchange with the Zerg on their part. So with these Widow Mines, the connections are key. Ooh! Wow, a lot of damage being eaten there on both sides.
Yeah, and definitely that's better here for soO, I would say. Like, all he needs to do is hold on, because his composition is getting stronger and stronger, and Maru's actually is not. He's continuing to make Widow Mines, he's continuing to make Marines, but forcing that same type of base traits type scenario, I think it's going to be harder this game, and it's not going to be as powerful, because soO is actually on 4 bases. We never saw soO get on 4 bases in the previous game.
Yeah, that's true. Well, he basically stopped soO before soO ever really got to start, you know? And that's a... Okay, oh my god.
Nice.
5 kills right there. Definitely a worthwhile engagement there for soO. Yeah, I mean, that's what a lot of good players try to do, especially against good Zergs, is just stop them before they get to play the game they actually know how to play.
Yeah.
And if you're a very macro-oriented player, granted, soO can kind of do everything. He basically stopped him from ever getting to that point. Has soO's creep spread been a little bit slow at the top, or is this actually being denied?
I haven't seen it get denied, but it
Seems like it's been a little bit slower.
It feels that way. Could that be because he was defending with 5-6 queens the entire time on the bottom?
Oh,
like, maybe
you know
he didn't
what?
have any extra queens up there?
That's a very good point. I think he did have one creep tumor with the
Yeah.
ability to keep extending out there, but you're right. The pressure may be so great from Maru that that soO actually has to compensate by pulling queens that would ideally be pulling out on the map.
Oh, nice connections right there, actually.
Yeah, good detonations on those mines.
Yeah.
This Marine and 1 Marauder combo is actually still pretty scary. Ooh. God, his targeting is so good.
Yeah. Still a little bit of damage dealt by those Banes, and of course he did force a cancel here on the 5th base.
I want to emphasize, because I know we have a lot of people that watch StarCraft but don't really play that much. It is so hard to just click down those Banelings.
Yeah.
You know, if you misclick that, you can lose your entire army.
And you will lose your entire army, just to make that super clear.
Yeah. So the fact that he ends up sniping 4 different Banelings that are not even really close to each other is crazy. Wow, good control by soO here as well.
Yeah, he's doing that counterattack right now while holding on against absolutely everything. So.
It's worth noting that when Maru center step microing, he's basically devoted to just controlling that. It's hard for him to actually deal with other attacks like this one. So this is one of the things where in StarCraft 2, it's not just about knowing everything and kind of being fast. It's about having the priority of knowing where your screen should be and what you should be trying to multitask. Since you really, and I think this is something that's oftentimes lost on more novice players or especially fans of Flash. If you're a Brood War players, you kind of imagine that the players are just doing everything all the time. They're really not. They actually have to choose certain points to focus on in the game. And so,
you can't do everything. Like multitasking is actually a myth, just to put this out there.
Well,
multitasking
is not a myth, but the idea that you're doing everything all the time at once is.
Well, you can't do 2 things at once. You can set up things. It's about choosing your actual priorities and choosing what order to do them in. The actual idea of doing 2 things at once isn't real. Like, you set something up with actions, you tell something to do something, then you do something else. That's what we call multitasking, but each time you see them doing something, that's what they're doing.
Correct. And a lot of times, the big mistake in certain games is, so for instance, like that big attack that we saw that soO did to the 3rd base, or I guess the base that's in the low ground area. It was like maybe 2 minutes, minute and a half ago. That big attack forced Maru to stop pushing because he knows he's going to lose on one front if he keeps doing that.
Maru's in like really bad shape here. I can't even figure out how he could ever win this game.
He's beginning to run out of oxygen this game for sure.
Yeah, soO has so much, and his units are so strong right now. We see a lot of Marauders being added in, which I find kind of interesting. Obviously, they tank very well against Lings and Banes, but they aren't particularly good against Hydras. So it's just, I'm surprised to see it. I mean, it's Maru, so, you know, he's the Marauder king, but this just really looks favored right now for soO if he just stays on this composition and keeps trucking forward.
Yes, soO may actually come in with an overwhelming amount right now. And I think the fact that it's on 2 fronts is sort of as a theme we were talking about earlier about you can't be everywhere at once. Hitting with a Hydra Bane on 2 fronts means Terran cannot micro 1. You basically have to try to set up your army and say good luck, and then go to the one that's more important, the more important location, and try to defend that.
A lot of Banes being made. This is such a scary army. There's a Ghost Academy that's been added in. There's some Liberators being made as well. But again, none of this really is a super hard counter to these units here. Wow, a lot of Ling Bane Hydra rolling forward right now. Great micro from Maru, really absorbing a lot of that.
Well, I'm like, see, guys, you can't micro this planetary with that attack over there. Point in case.
He targets down all the hurt Hydras.
That's right.
Look at that.
Maru's going to try to seesaw this. I don't know if it's actually going to work, but he's going to try to push into this vacant area on the map and do some damage. I actually think it's a wiser decision to turn around, so he's going to do just that. Going with what Tasteless thinks is always, you know, the way to do it.
They tried to hire Tasteless as a coach, but he said, no, my passion is casting.
No, I said my clairvoyance is better used in casting. So
my clairvoyance.
My prescience is much better use over here. So Maru looking for an opening. He's going to, instead of trying to come in and wipe out a base, just try to deny this one that's being taken down here. Wait, he doesn't know about this base at the very bottom, right?
Oh.
Not the one to the left of this. I think he actually is unaware of that.
Probably. All right, a big push in here from Maru. Great splitting once again. Where's the rest of the army? Oh, there it is. So soO actually fought with half his army, then brought in the other half. He's still got enough that he can clear this out, though.
Yeah, this is just too much.
Amazing micro by Maru, no doubt about it. His micro just continues to impress and get better.
I actually don't know if Maru can recoup from here. He took a risk. soO's supply is going to spike back up a little bit faster than Maru's is. Ooh, good interception there with the Lings trying to body block those Marauders. But seems to me like this northern expansion from Maru, I can already see soO's fangs extending. He is going to go for it once he holds off this push.
Totally.
Now, I don't think it's as consequential if soO loses that base we just had on camera, the one that's not really being mined from.
Yeah, he's got 5. It's okay.
Never count Maru out, though. I mean, this guy does have Tiger blood.
Yeah. And truthfully, the micro we've seen this game and in the previous game feels like we're watching Beyond again. You know, I mean, Maru has always had some of the best micro in the world, but this has been pretty outrageous, this splitting and spreading that he's been doing.
So he manages to basically save that base. soO would ideally like to eliminate the command center, because soO can actually, with the growth rate of soO, he can actually expand towards the north if he wants to. So his attacks over there are basically covering that upper left quadrant of the map.
I like that defensive posture he made at the top base. Maru did, though. He's setting up the planetary again. He's set up like 4 or 5 Liberators there and has a little bit of bio. That's hard to break with anything.
By the way, the sensor tower position is very, very intentional. Like exactly where it's planted is what it's supposed to do, because it keeps that base safe when he's there. Well, hold on.
Was that the sickest mine I've ever seen?
That was crazy.
What?
Now, this might just be too much. We're going to see. There's a decent amount of Marauders, so there's a little bit more sustainability. But I believe... Oh, hold on.
The micro here is just so crazy right now.
Maru's actually going to hold this. I'm sorry. Whenever you see that many Marauders against Hydras, it gets a little bit fuzzy with the math.
Well,
you know?
we never see anyone actually try this composition against what soO is doing.
Right.
The fact that he's holding on with this more Marauder-based play, it was my understanding that Hydras are good against Marauders, and I'm not even taking that back, but when Maru's using them, these things can do anything, man.
If soO loses this and he has to go back and look for the mistake, I think it might have been that attack there. Suddenly, Maru has a lot more footing.
That was certainly the one moment of this game, I agree with you, where it was kind of like... And the thing is, I thought he was going to break him. That and then the 2 half army thing are the only times where I'm like, okay, that was a mistake, maybe. Well, that one I don't even feel like it was a mistake. It was more like, huh, did Maru just take the lead? It was more of that moment.
Well, I think, let's see if he can actually push down here. Because that means that it's still going to be soO just on 5 bases, which of course is good, but minerals are eventually going to evaporate on this map. He's going to try to push in here. The fact that there's this weird obstruction in the middle of the map means this could be quite good for Terran. These Banelings need to have good connection with Marauders in the front. They're not going to have them.
How good
Maru's actually going to break this.
Yeah. He really is. There is no way you're going to break that at this point. These Lings are barely doing anything to the Marauders, sitting there with 3-3 in the front up against 2-2 Lings.
It could have been quite different if there wasn't that weird green ventilation thing in the middle of the map.
Yeah.
But that's actually part of the map. Now, as I'm saying this, it seems like actually soO does hold this,
Yeah, these
which
are
is
really
quite
weird
impressive.
battles. It's like really hard to call exactly how these battles are going between the micro of Maru and just these weird interactions with this many Marauders.
When it's said and done, soO actually hangs on. Supply's even here. Yeah, you're totally right, Artosis. These are not normal fights.
He's kind of using, I mean, there's Liberators in here as well, but he's kind of using an old, like the unit comp that you would use against Lingbane Muta, which went completely out of style the second Hydras started getting used well against Terran.
Yeah.
Then we saw everyone go into siege tanks, right? Everyone, that was kind of the consensus, is that you needed a bunch of siege tanks to break through there. But now it's almost as if like Maru has ascended to another level and he's decided that this old comp is actually fine. And I don't know if it is or it isn't, but I mean, he's making an argument for it, that's for sure.
All these Marauders are sort of negating the Banelings, and if he has enough medevacs, then suddenly, look, every time these fights happen, it's just Marauders, a couple Marines coming in here, and that's when Terran can begin to then push back. It's this really interesting tug of war we're seeing on the map. This is actually such a cool game. So, he's actually driving him back again, so then Maru's going to come back in here. I feel like this is one of the... there's been fighting the entire time, this game.
Yeah, this is
pure action.
This game is so crazy, and I don't even, like...
This is a John Wick movie. It's non-stop action. And let me tell you something, soO should never have killed Maru's dog.
No.
Shouldn't have done it.
And the thing is, we haven't even had that moment yet where, you know, the Marauder is shooting over his shoulder in the subway station.
Yeah, we're not quite there yet, but it's coming.
Or wherever that was.
Yeah.
Oh, man. No, that's great, Tasis. I love it.
I'm glad you liked that one.
That was really good.
He's gonna
it is like a John Wick movie. I'm like,
yeah,
I'm totally entertained. I'm not exactly
yeah.
sure what's going on or who wrote this game, but, like, I'm loving it.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of film essays about, you know, what this means, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, no.
This is going to go right up there with Pacific Rim, where I'm just like, I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I liked it for what it was. Although, actually, this game, there's a lot more technical stuff going on, but soO's in an odd predicament now. Everywhere he expands out is pretty far away from home. And this is where it can get a little bit uncomfortable for soO. Now, that being said, Terran really can't expand out. It's actually much harder for Terran to expand out than for the Zerg, but Terran is going to dry up in resources later on. Here's another one of those fights.
Yeah.
Once your Banelings are gone, get out.
It's so funny watching Hydras try to run away off creep from Marauders that are concussing them. Another hatchery going to be forced down right now.
You can tell how taxed soO is right now by the fact that wasn't canceled. Maru wasn't even really trying to kill that immediately before he could cancel. He was trying to move into position so that soO could defend, but it still wasn't canceled in time. And look at this. Maru's actually maxed out.
Yeah.
Maru just basically won this game.
This is a really shocking game that we have been able to witness. And
so here's the thing, Artosis. Marauders just have a lot more HP, so just don't make Marines in the late game. Okay, they have Stim too.
Wow.
GG.
Wow, you
can't go Hydra Bane against Marauders.
Maru figured out first, but then Tasteless translated it for us.
That's right.
Yeah,
I C3PO'd that one.
I feel confused and mildly excited right now, Tasteless. This is only the second time in my life I felt like this watching a StarCraft game. What a wild game that was. Like, I did not expect for this to look like this at all. The compositionally speaking, it felt like soO was way ahead for basically the entire time. Like, I guess some combination of 3-3 against 2-2 and Marauders tanking Lingbane.
Yeah.
The amount of medevacs healing. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but like Maru is using a composition that was understood to not be good against Lingbane Hydra.
Seems like if you have enough resources, it's actually fine. How much gas is Zerg losing every time they use Banelings in a fight? I mean, those are units that can't be healed. They don't come back. If the Baneling worked, it also died. So I think if you look at it economically, what happens is that if soO doesn't have basically perfect engages every time, then Maru, even if he loses a decent amount of Marauders, he heals them up and they come back, and they medevacs get more energy over time, which heals up the Marauders, which allows them to stim into fights. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, no. Just a great game, no doubt. I hope we have John Wick 2 coming up here.
John Wick 3.
GSL SuperTournament, Season 1, Round of 16, Match 1.
Like, oh, they're spot next to each other. It's crazy.
StarCraft 2 at the GSL studio.
It's funny watching those two screens on top of each other. SCV starts going down and pops into the creep. I'm like, whoa!
I believe what that is for production is a subtle reference to fighting games. You know when you have the two characters? Someone pair that up in an image there. Like Street Fighter when it's like one guy's in the bottom, lower third. Uh-oh, peekaboo nerd.
Well, soO is not showing that he sees this. And he actually
another one down
he went gas pool. So this is definitely soO favored right now.
My double barracks. Oh, look at this.
Oh, and he sees the second barracks as well.
My heavens to Betsy.
Well, everyone knew that Maru would eventually do this, right? Now Maru's like, huh.
Uh-oh.
He's like, how did he know?
This
How
is where
did
he
he
pauses
know?
the game and says, you're a hacker. And then he doesn't watch the replay that he lost.
Yeah.
All those guys that accuse people of hacking online, and then they've never watched any of their own games. It's like, oh, he just saw.
No.
So he's calling the guy a piece of shit and all this horrible stuff, and he's going on spreading pain in the world.
It's funny.
Well, one of them finishes.
Yeah.
I'm a glass is half full caster.
It's true.
Rush won't work, but hey. You finish your buildings.
What do? You just, I guess you rally your Marine back and you make a wall at home?
No. He's
Or
going,
you
he's
actually
going for it.
But there's 6 slings on the way.
You never know. Maru's really good at micro. No, you're right. Should not matter.
Well, one Marine against 6 slings, I'm pretty sure I know how that goes no matter who's using it. That'd have to be Jim Raynor, the Marine. Let's see, are you Jim Raynor? Let's see it.
Ow.
Come on, Jimmy.
I think I'm Jim.
Turn around, Jim.
Where's my super vulture bike?
5 hit points. Oh, he's dead.
So is there a plan B from this? That's what I'm wondering. I don't think so.
It's making a Reaper, so I guess you can clear the Lings with that, take your Expand, and just try to play a regular game, but there's a Roach Horn on the way, which I think that's probably the game ender. What are you gonna do against roaches? You're gonna block all those roaches with this Reaper you're making? Oh man.
So this is the beginning of the end. Yeah, I mean, this is the price you pay if you proxy. Had he done it a few hexes further away, it actually does show the significance of how important it is that the initial rush actually gets right up to where the Zerg is. This is how close Maru placed that. I mean, Maru knows that, you know, every hex he puts it away further from that expansion, the less likely it is to be spotted. But that's how important it is in order for the rush to work. So roaches are coming out, and because that Reaper was forced to make, because that's the only thing they can get back and is nimble enough to avoid Zerglings, the roaches basically hard counter the Reaper.
Yeah, and the factory is just over half done, so it's not like you're going to have a Cyclone come out and save the day. Maru might GG as the roaches hit here. Or maybe he just tries to make the Cyclone or something.
What if Maru wins this? Blizzard's running around. People are crashing each other in the office. How do we stop Terran? They've got the emergency balance phone. It's red. And
oh my gosh.
Wow. Okay, so soO, great job, shut that down. But hey, man, it's not a macro game.
No. Well, he found Maru's special strategy, double proxy barracks, something Maru uses all the time.
I think he almost always does that in every best of 5 he plays.
Yeah.
In fact, to be honest, I think that was a little bit predictable of Maru. I've casted and watched a lot of his games, and I feel like he's always going to, no matter what, try to put that into one of his games, and I think maybe he's telegraphed that a little bit too much in his past. soO, by the way, handled that very well. Didn't show the fact that he knew that too soon. There's definitely a right moment when you want to send the drones out.
Yeah.
You don't just freak out, have a heart palpitation, and send the drones willy-nilly out. You wait for the right moment when one barracks finishes and the other one can't finish, and it's just really awkward, and Terran hasn't made the stuff back at home because the minerals invested in that other barracks. They're there, they're not somewhere in the main. There's a real art to it.
Yeah. Like if you're halfway building through that second barracks, it's like the ultimate time.
We're going to a very special place where the squares are neon violet.
Oh, excellent.
Yes.
I love this map.
Yeah.
I kept reading Eastwatch, and I was like, oh, we're going to Eastwatch. Okay, that's kind of interesting. But no, that's set 5. I really love the graphics that we have this season.
It's cool.
Like the cartoons and stuff. Look at that.
GSL SuperTournament, Season 1, Round of 16. Match 1.
He's going to show you how this strategy works no matter what.
Can't help himself. This would be the funniest thing ever if he just does this 3 times in a row and loses.
Yeah.
And soO moves on, and we're like,
You can't do that, man. Look at this. soO's just looking for it right now.
So funny. Well, he just like watched the series against Dark, and he's like, yeah, no, I kind of like know what you do. Oh, this is so funny.
This is so...
Holy crap, it's so funny.
And look,
Watch this,
he's
watch
going to
this.
pull the Overlord
Yeah,
back.
he's going to be able to pull it back. Oh, no. Maru might have seen that. No?
No?
Oh, my
now,
God.
he should know that it's a second barracks.
Yeah.
But, maybe not. The Overlord's going around a different direction. He has to know, right?
I don't think he actually saw it.
Doesn't matter. He's
It's
gonna
the
see it
same
now.
counter anyways.
I wish we could get a screenshot of Maru. We probably won't here, but
I could
it's just
see
like,
him.
okay, all right, I'm sorry. I know I'm the best Terran in the world. This is like what I do in a best of...
Well, this is you know what? MVP, man. He proxy barracks almost as much as Maru.
You know what's funny about this? The barracks are going to finish.
Yeah, they might
This is
both
actually
finish.
in such a premium location, or are the gods of RNG. Is RNGesus on his side? Are you friends with RNGesus?
Well, I'm not, because my StarCraft 1 SCVs would have been on the bottom left there, and
It's
they would
not
have
gonna
both popped down and died.
Yeah. Wow, so that didn't finish. You know, if it finishes, it's huge
Yeah.
because you're still pushing.
And the other SCV actually went all the way home.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty impressive,
Ooh.
decisive play. I guess
Gets a drone.
Maru is not going to rely on RNG here. He
No.
didn't cancel the barracks, though, which is what's kind of weird about it. Like, there's no
He did
point.
I
Yeah,
think he
okay.
wanted to make... Yeah, the thing is he chased the SCV all the way home, so you'd think he would just cancel at that point. But anyways, he gets a Reaper, so at least the Reaper can do things like clear up lings. Oh, wow. Look at this. Maru's like, yeah, no, I'm at an advantage. Look at this Reaper.
Shows you how many forks there are in this build. Quickly, through the violet squares. I like that. He lands that right so that a third hatch cannot be made there.
Double CC behind, taking a little bit of a risk.
Uh-oh. Turns out having units in your base is good.
Is the Reaper on the way home already? Yeah, it is.
Yep.
It's almost there, actually. It's not too far.
I think the factory might finish. If it doesn't, I'll be 0 for 2 with predicting if these buildings finish in this game.
Didn't actually, the SCV hit, it looks, for CC. Okay, so, like, soO stopped the rush, and he scouted everything that's going on, so these are definitely two good things. But it doesn't feel like last game, where the game was just over. You know? It feels like the game will go on.
I like that. To be continued.
Oh, that's a quick layer. Oh, you know what? Is this going to be a Nidus play?
I
Because
think
he sees
so.
3 CC. And
Well, I think that it's the most clear and decisive response to the problem that's been handed to him.
I hope that's what it is.
I
I want to see Game 5, and I want it to be 2 proxy barracks, and it actually kills soO that time.
That's right.
That would be great.
So the layer's a little bit under halfway done. We have 2 gases being taken. There is a third base. Maybe not Artosis. By the way, it was a lot of fun doing that StarCraft 20-year anniversary in San Francisco.
yeah.
That was great.
It was so much fun seeing all our old
We actually got
friends and stuff.
Hydra back.
Yeah. Just hanging out with everyone and talking all
Yeah.
throughout the event, and then all night as well. It was just so much fun.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. I like the format. I think it's really cool that we sort of had a different vibe for it. You know, we're a little bit more esportsy here, but it was kind of cool to have more of a LAN party vibe, chill vibe. So if you guys haven't seen the VODs of that, definitely check them out. It's a lot of fun. A lot of good banter.
Good stuff. By the way, it's a very fast Spire, and a scan actually hit the layer. So this is just, it's very interesting what we're seeing here. I wasn't really expecting Spire. I mean, obviously there are 3 locations and stuff, and he doesn't have like a lot of units, so I guess Mutas could do something. But the fact that he saw layer that quickly and he's like making cyclones and leaving them at home, maybe he thinks that it could be a Nidus. Okay, he scans and actually sees the Spire now. So he can start to prepare for that. And he's about to have his armory finished, so definitely can see some Thors popping out.
Okay, seems like soO's basically ready for this.
Yep.
He's going to lose that medevac.
Just about.
Oh, you're crazy.
Wow.
That was really ambitious of him. That was...
I would call it greedy, but you're
Yeah.
very nice to call it ambitious.
Because, you know, all you have to do is have those queens right-clicked on that medevac.
Yeah.
They will fire. You can't really fake out the queens.
Yeah.
Especially with Hellions on the ground.
Especially with Queen anti-air range.
Yeah,
Jeez.
there's no game of cat and mouse with that.
No.
The queens just advance forward quickly on creep and shoot down your medevac.
Yeah.
It's not like you have 2 medevacs full of Marines that might just run forward and kill the queens. There's nothing. That was just a mistake by Maru.
So what are you bluffing with exactly?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. By the way, he's making like 5 mutas, but he's making them kind of late. Obviously, he's forced some anti-air precautions here. It's going to be mech play as well coming out, despite the fact that he has 2 barracks. I think he switched into this. Oh, he's getting concussive shells and making a Marine. Is he trying to fake him out, perhaps? I wonder. Okay, yeah, look at the placement of this, right?
Okay.
There is a second factory that's being made, so maybe if soO flies in, he sees where that is, and it's concussive shells. So you think stim right now, right? And he's zoning him off of the second factory. So I think he's trying to force him into thinking that, yeah, see, concussive shells gets canceled, and soO starts baneling speed. He's getting +1 for mutas. He's going 1-1. So I think he just tricked him out, is what just happened here. He really tried to force him into think, look where their armories are and everything, right? He's trying to make him think that this is bio play.
It might work, actually.
Yeah, I mean, this is it seems to me to be a very deep mind game from Maru.
And so far, Maru's basically blockaded the mutas from ever coming in there and really doing any damage. So
he knows now it's mech, by the way.
yeah, but you know, even buying that for a few seconds is pretty important.
Yeah, totally.
Zerg follows the wrong algorithm in their build. There are several steps behind.
So true, so true. Infestation Pit, Hydralis Den on the way. He has not overcommitted to mutas, and it's fine to get +1 muta attacks, not that expensive. It'll be useful later on, because this is very likely to go to an extremely long game, as long as Maru doesn't overcommit somewhere.
Keep in mind, guys, this is the second game we've had a double proxy that didn't blossom into anything. But Maru is still hanging on. Now, soO's supply is quite intimidating. He's getting close to the max out point, and he's going into Swarm House here.
Yeah, that's cool.
And this may be to keep Maru locked into this little sliver of the map, this triangle that he's wedged into up here.
And with the creep spread this good, and the fact that he just kind of has map control, you know, he has 1-1 Lings and a group of mutas out here, you can't really go on the map. So a good 14, looks like Swarm Hosts on the way. To just kind of go out there and start bombarding Maru when he has so much map to take over.
It takes a while for mech to really kick in.
Yeah.
There's a period where Terran's saying, for the most part, I'm not going to go out on the map. I'm trying to make something back here. And so I think soO's responded, honestly, really brilliantly. He's saying, okay, I'm going to punish you for that. Swarm Host coming out. I am going to jab you over and over.
Yeah. Stab
again and again and again. Especially from a position where the Terran really doesn't get to do anything about it. We're seeing that here. This is just going to slowly gnaw away at this fourth base location. Now that being said, Maru has enough firepower. It's going to take some time for soO to pull this off. But while soO's doing this, he's expanding really rapidly. His creep spread is off the hook.
Yeah, and
is off the hook, is that a lame thing for us to say now? Is that passe?
No, because we're in our 30s, so
it's totally tubular.
It's radical.
Yeah.
This is some radical creep spread here.
So Maru's trying to come out on the map, but that means that there's an opening here for soO to once again try to dive on top of this. Not if he sends his army down here.
This is also kind of cool because he's made a lot of Swarm Hosts, and a lot of times you'll see mech players go for like Hellbats to absorb that, and then just bio play behind, or not bio play, sorry, just regular mech play behind those Hellbats. But he's gone into some Hydra and Baneling, and that's like a really quick and efficient way to clear out Hellbats. And if there are no Hellbats, the Locusts start doing a lot. Like, look, see, These are here to kind of absorb this. They don't. The Hellbats don't cost that much. They have a lot of health.
Yeah, the
They get
Hellbats are like
healed.
sponges for this.
Yeah.
The Hellbats are the ShamWow.
The Sham too?
The ShamWow. You know what a ShamWow is? You ever seen this
yeah,
infomercial that thing like soaks up everything?
Oh, totally. It's a great product, actually.
If there's some kind of flood in Seoul and this train system is completely filled up, I throw 3 ShamWows down there and it's dried up.
You
really never saw that
No, I
infomercial
did.
though?
I said yes, I did. It was a great product. I wanted one of those.
We need a ShamWow sponsor. That's what we need. This Tasteless just spilling stuff on the desk.
Slap
like
chop, dude.
Oh yeah, the slap chop.
All right, so picking off as many of these as he possibly can right now.
Maru's really handling this well. I mean, considering that the first proxy was completely bungled, Maru's basically fine. I think what soO was coming in here trying to do was really smart, and I thought it was going to work a lot better. Oh my God.
That was very nice picking off some extra units.
Yeah.
Maru's done a great job, and he's getting into his Speed Cloak Banshees eventually here. So that's something that he's very well known for and very good at. But soO's creep spread is like way off the hook at this point, Tasteless. It's beyond the hook. It's beyond many hooks. And, I mean, his economy is not super duper gigantic yet, but he's taking the gold base. He's sending some drones there now, I believe.
By the way, this unit composition here with the swarm hosts, it's not paying off at all, which means eventually, like that whole attack gets 1 tank. That means that when Maru actually gets maxed out, he's going to have a push that, I don't know what these swarm hosts are supposed to do besides counter, but that would mean that Maru's main army would actually be much, much weaker, right?
Yeah, like the swarm hosts only add things to the army for a little tiny bit. I'm surprised he didn't rotate them a little bit, like maybe hit the main some as well. You know, just kind of walk to the north and launch some off there. But as Maru grows and kind of spreads out a little bit more, definitely you can try to find better places in with your swarm hosts. And as long as he's continually using them, they are gaining some value. It's just, will the actual push of Maru get extra done because there's so many swarm hosts? All right, diving in here behind his swarm hosts, actually. The Locust diving in and bringing up his Hydras as well, trying to pull them back as those Locusts die. So strategically, I'm on Team soO 1,000,000,000% this game. Like, I think that soO is playing a genius game right here. Will he end up winning because of it? I don't know.
You know, I have to say, though, it is, to put some emphasis on Maru for a second, the fact that Maru's playing a game that looks like this, considering how this game started, is unreal. And this is also an awesome play. I mean, look at how quickly these are going to get gunned down now.
Oh God, he does not even have
Do you know how many
overseer anywhere?
Banshee shots it is to kill a swarm host? I have no idea off the top of my head. I was wondering if there was a magic number, because if he was able to one-shot this, they would all be gone.
Let's see, there's 6 Banshees now. It feels to me like it takes 8 or 9 Banshee hits, but I'm not 100% sure on that.
I think it might be a little bit more, but if you could have it even so they would exactly 2-shot it instead of 3-shotting it like they were back there. I don't know.
I think those 2 full volleys were getting it, but some Corruptors on the way. Looks like he's going to switch over into air tech, but already Ravens are coming out as well. So Maru kind of like, this guy's a globetrotter, man. This is so crazy. Right now he's dribbling the ball in between soO's legs. soO's like having a very hard time after a solid start to the game.
Mass Corruptor coming up here with the Greater Spire under halfway done. Will that be the correct response if he goes into Broodlords here?
Well, as the Raven count goes up, it gets a little bit nerve-wracking.
It does. 2 at a time coming out here. It's 3 at a time for how many CCs are being made. Yeah, go ahead.
Can I say something sounds a little bit crazy? You know, swarm hosts, they don't really cost that much, but they definitely do use up a lot of supply and stuff, right? He had them for a long time. Overall, did they pay for themselves? Maybe right around that, right? He did kill some tanks and, like, he killed Hellbats and stuff. Let's call them even. Is it a good thing that they died there to the Banshees so he would refill with better supply at this point because they weren't doing that much? Or, like, I never think this way, but...
Well, I don't know if it's good or bad, but it's the natural course of the game.
This is what life is.
It's
Death is part of life, Artosis.
Yeah,
Thank you, Tasteless.
Life consumes life, and this is what's happening. No, I mean, it's a hard one to call whether or not it's good or bad. I mean, the thing is that Maru had to eventually get rid of them or they would start paying for themselves. But I don't know.
Yeah. It's a lot of command centers, by the way. So great upgrades on both sides. That Ghost Academy coming up. Finally getting that big macro game. Of course, Neon Violet Square. What else would you expect? Woo! I'm surprised that muted didn't die, actually.
So there's a pretty vacant area in the bottom left. I think it's most likely that Maru will eventually branch out down there. The creep spread is in the upper right, so it would seem like more than likely soO's going to try to take that, assuming that this map does get cut in half. But as time passes, and you mentioned this earlier, Artosis, but there's going to be more and more Ravens, and that's, okay, well, he's beating me to what I was going to say. He can keep firing into this, and it just costs mana, and soO is just eating damage over time. And this is where you have to really get to complicated math in StarCraft. Okay, so assuming that the map is roughly mined out by each side, how do you best engage that so that you're having a more economical exchange? And a lot of times that's with spells, or it's sometimes for the Zerg, it's swarm hosts. How do you get free damage?
Yeah. Well, free damage, you know, spellcasters are basically the name of the game, and highly ranged units. For Maru, it's a little bit different. This is the Speed Banshee King at this point. Sorry, Rion, but Maru having such great effect with those recently. And, yeah, I don't know. I love Maru's approach of just, like, Ravens plus some Speed Banshees and, you know, everything else kind of smattered in. Look at this. He keeps flying around, getting damage done, even just clearing the creep over and over. That's another great way to get damage. You've got more minerals than you really need. Well, I guess right this second he doesn't, but he will eventually. So you can use extra scans. It's not like you need your mules very much. You're going to mine everything out eventually.
It is worth pointing out that Terran, just the way they operate, it's harder for them to take up more of the map. It's not easy for the Zerg either. I mean, that's where a lot of times we see Zerg fall apart, but it's harder for Zerg. It's harder for Terran to occupy more of the map. Like, it's really tough if Terran actually had half the map. They're spread pretty thin, and usually, tempo-wise, Zerg can really throw a lot of punches while that's happening. Yeah. Doesn't mean it won't happen this game, but I want to point that out because a lot of people can't even ever get to this position in a game.
Oh, totally.
It's such an advanced game that until you've actually experienced that, you have to have a lot of appreciation for any Terran that can actually get this massive and still be poking out and keeping their bases safe. So soO is elected to go for Broodlords. I don't think that's wrong, but when you go for Broodlords, a lot of times good players will start attacking other parts on the map because Broodlords are slow and can't defend everything at once. So they sort of take that strength and then turn that into a weakness against you.
I was just going to say I'd like to see some Infestors mixed in here.
Sure.
It breaks my heart when we see Ghost sniping everything and no Infestors even trying to get those fungals down to interrupt the steady shot. But he is making some of those now. He's adding in Vipers as well. So really getting a lot of his own spellcasters, very important.
Take that, Viper. Ha! Ha!
Got you. The single siege tank here. Pretty funny.
Well, it works. It made the spores go back. The creep tumors are going to go down.
Totally. You don't want to overcommit forward here and just die to the ghosts.
Trying to balance out that supply. I mean, you only need one. No! Oh, never mind.
Ooh, nukes on the way here as well. I love that he does play this style like TY where you go mech, but then you get 2 ebays and get 3/3 for your ghosts because they're such an important part of this army. They really, every ghost is worth so much. It is worth it 100% to get those upgrades when you get this much of the map and more.
The combination of the mana from the ghosts and the ravens is really the most important part here. Now, nukes are the only thing that's sort of like a baneling for Terran, where if it does something, if it does any damage at all, then you've lost the minerals and the gas. It's not bad, but I just want to point out, like, sometimes you'll see a lot of games where Terrans nuke constantly, and end up losing the game because, you know, it's not the same as having just ravens that are going to regen energy.
Yeah, it costs something, and he's making 7 more Ghost Academies, so I think we're going to have those non-stop nukes. 8 nukes, man, that's a lot of nukes.
Now, again, with that being said, 8 nukes is a lot more than just having one on standby.
Look, I've never seen 7 nukes making it once. What kind of comedy hour is this? 7 nukes? Well, now it's 6, but there were 7 nukes making for a moment there.
But again, if this doesn't really do that much damage other than creep tumors, and Zerg reclaims the space, then how much money overall has Terran lost?
That is the thing, right? Reclaiming the space, but can we also say that just by pushing these creep tumors back, you're buying more unharassed time at your expansions. So if you're doing that,
that's true.
That can be an unseen value you're getting from these nukes also.
Why does the Ghost have to point a laser pointer?
So the nuke knows where to go. What? It's like a cat with a laser pointer. You point the laser pointer and the cat goes there. The nuke is basically
nuke's eyes have dilated.
It's basically a giant cat that flies through the air and then explodes when it hits. Wow, that Ghost was baller. He just walks right into it.
Yeah.
Badasses don't look back at explosions, but true badasses walk into their own nuke.
That's right. Oh, this actually, does this break the hatch? I don't know what the HP is.
Yeah,
on
that should kill the hatch.
No, actually, I think it doesn't.
Oh,
yeah,
I guess not.
Because its HP is shooting up so fast as it's making.
I think we need more command centers.
I worry actually a little bit for Maru with what he's doing here. This may end up winning the game, but otherwise, this is a lot of money that's spent in a place that's not ideal. Whoa, that Funko was sick. I love how he was very passive for a while to the point where maybe Maru got overconfident and then he just dived on him.
Yeah. And actually, it turns out to be okay for Maru. Those missiles did
That's
a
more than
great
one
job
nuke, right?
It might be. Yeah, it looks... Uh-oh. Oh! The Optimus is his ghost.
Wow, just like the Terminator movie.
Yeah. Oh my god, this game is too crazy right now.
I think this might have been an overextension here. These Vikings are going to clean this up. These Broodlords actually can't get back in time. Another moment where Zerg needs recall.
Yeah. Well, they wouldn't have gone back from that either, I think. Okay, so finally he's getting concussive I can't talk. Concussive shells for real this time. He's even getting stim and combat shields, so there could be a switch into bio at some point. I don't think we will actually see that, but having that open as an option is really neat, because that really doesn't cost much for him to get those 2 upgrades in the grand scheme of things. And if, for some reason, that situation shows itself, the amount of damage that bio can suddenly do, if unexpected, is huge.
Well, minerals are being mined up all over the map, and there's eventually going to become a point where there's nothing else to mine from. soO is banked up a lot more.
Yeah, he's not even max. It's very interesting watching him try to decide what he wants to do.
It seems almost like he wants to stay back. He's waiting before he just spams out units. Because a lot of this will come down to who spent their income more efficiently. And once again, it seems like soO wants to continue to try to push here from the south. Again, he has to respect those Vikings up here.
Ooh, some parasitic bombs going off. Oh, I think he actually multiple parasitic bombs. The same one maybe there? I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think that's why that Viking landed.
Yeah.
Ooh, whoa.
Anti-armor missile. Pretty good.
Pretty good, yeah. So the upper right is not occupied currently, although soO's attempted to take that several times. The bottom left is probably the most mineral-rich location on the map.
Yeah.
And it seems like soO wants to keep the majority of his attention down there, so to make it difficult for Terran to get over there.
Well, there are so many command centers. He's like command center pushing that area. It's the Ghost like just walking up and killing buildings with their guns at this point. There's a battlecruiser on the way as well. Maru is just getting too good at late game. It's actually like the scariest thing, because he's always been best to second best micro in the world as far as Terran goes, right? He's always been unbelievably strong in the mid game. But, sometimes you get to late game and he'd be good, right? Still one of the best Terrans of that, but not like something to super write home about like a TY. And here we've been seeing him just grow in this way magnificently.
Wow, pretty ambitious play there by Maru to try to come in. Either that or he wasn't actually watching his screen that much over there. Terran's still nuking away. I think that's one of the reasons why his gas has been quite low. Then again, I don't feel like Terran's lost a ton of gas units.
Those are real Marines or no?
I think those are changelings.
Okay.
You ever wonder if Nuke should do more damage to a building. I guess with how good Maru is, we would not
No,
want to break
yeah.
the game,
For only 100 no supply, I think it's fine. Yeah, I think it's pretty good what it does. If a nuke lands already, you've won a moral victory. You don't need to kill the building,
Yeah.
too. Yeah, he's going to get a base that soO would like to mine out of. soO is still sitting here, just nowhere near maxed. Five more racks
it's
is on the
interesting. He has the resources to make basically whatever he wants. So he's going to make a bunch more Brood Lords and kind of go for an air-intensive army. Now, how close is Maru to mining out that top center base?
What's soO doing? Top center? I don't think he's very close. But he could be landing a bunch of mules. We don't really know.
Dude, he's going to lose all these drones. Oh, my God.
That's actually a significant amount of drones.
Yep, watch. It was at 64 before this happened. It's at 37 now.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. He's just going to go for it again.
Jeez.
Did soO just kind of run into a wall here?
What is soO doing right now is my question. Like, I see down at the bottom Infestors just dying to ghosts, and then I see at the top, you know, a base dying to nukes and drones not being moved. What is he doing? Okay, he's coming in here now with his air army.
Yeah, I almost feel like soO ended up just hitting a wall here. He's going to come down here and try to take this location, but I mean, right now soO is limping through this game. 29 drones killed here. Now, with the number of command centers, it's not like Maru can't just pick up after he holds this attack off and just push back down here, right? Oh, these Corruptors, they're all so low.
Yeah, I'm surprised he stayed that long with how low those actually did end up getting. Like, he really wants to kill some of this stuff, but...
But I think this very low supply, not very low, but he was like at 160 for a lot of this late game. I'm wondering if soO just... on some level was scratching his head trying to figure out what am I supposed to be making here? Uh-oh. And then Nathanius took over this game.
Well, I think it's okay to hold supply in these weird games and try to figure out where you're going to find a hole that you can abuse.
Yeah.
But, like, the thing is, I'm confused where soO's actions are going because his APM is still saying rather high, but I'm not, like... I don't want to be overcritical, but... There's just like, I see a bunch of damage happening in multiple locations at once, and Maru is great, but soO's good enough and quick enough to do some other things. By the way, it says 29 next to the nuke. Does that mean it's the 29th nuke to go off? I actually don't know.
Wow.
I can't believe he
So in case you guys are confused, that was a lot of nukes at once. Or somebody tweets at me, she chases, they can kill a building. That's a bunch of them. I don't know, man. soO, at some point in time, was floating 10K gas, or 10K minerals, and I believe like 7K gas. Yeah. He's now almost the same in minerals as Maru.
He's having a hard time keeping his drones together. We actually do have bio added back in now, 26 Marines on the field, but only one medevac, so that's kind of weird.
Did our computer crash?
Everything did, I think. soO's sick of this game, man. He's going to disconnect.
So soO just turned off his computer.
Pull the plug.
That's not what he really did, but...
All right. This has been a really sick series. It's just kind of, I don't know, 10 minutes ago or 8 minutes ago or something. It feels like what's going on at this point?
It just seems like he was trying to feel his way through that. Like he hasn't quite had that much experience. In a late game scenario that was like that, where Maru was actually really efficiently nuking these areas. You know, most of the games that we have, the nukes. Even though people like to kind of freak out that there's nukes going on in games, they don't normally do that much.
Yeah.
This time they did a lot.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know if that's soO's fault or Maru is just really good or a combination of the two.
It's really a surprising amount of damage actually being dealt by some of these nukes. But it seems like soO, like his Swarm hosts, I liked the idea a lot. He didn't get a lot done. And then I feel like since then, we see every, 5-6 minutes, a big air army comes in and then dies to seeker missiles.
Yeah.
And I feel like there needs to be a little bit something else there. Like, for instance,
he was also keeping those Corruptors out, for instance, for too long. They're all at 5 to 10% hit points. Yeah. Some of these things have been a little bit questionable from soO, the way he's been playing. And then you look at, like, for instance, how Dark was playing, and it's not necessarily the best way to do it, but the way that he was... And the thing is, I'm not sure exactly what the actual best way to deal with all this is going to end up being at the end. Maybe Rogue will show us later. But
like when he's running around nonstop and he's mixing in like Zergling harassment stuff like that. The thing is, Maru's sealed up pretty darn tight, but soO isn't like doing. I don't see like a whole lot of creativity here with how to deal with this. I don't see like multiple places that he's hitting. I feel like there's not an urgency in his defense. Do you know what I mean?
Well,
where it's like there's nukes going off and he's not moving stuff. And it's okay. You're going to get hit sometimes when there's 8 nukes at once going off. But like, I don't know.
Well, it is worth mentioning that a best of 5 is quite exhausting for the players.
Yeah.
Especially when you have one that's, we're at like 29 minutes in this game. So, and it's game 4. So, while it's fair to say that it's exhausting, I didn't see any Nidus worms. Then again, I guess because it's a 4-player map, the quadrant that Maru's in, maybe it's, I'm sorry, that's not, I meant the map is like a square and not a rectangle.
I'd be on Violet Square, in fact.
Yeah. Maybe it's harder for him to get like a Nidus worm in there to do something like that. It didn't seem like there was any real moment that Zerg could come in there and break it.
Why, I don't see him poking and prodding and testing too many areas.
Well, he might be afraid of the spells that Terran has.
Yeah, for sure. And you should be.
Okay, so this is a bit anticlimactic, but soO is...
he's just given up.
Given up. He's conceded.
Okay. He actually did disconnect from the game. But I think he knew the writing was on the wall.
All right, so soO throws the towel in, and that means that Maru advances 3-1. GG.
Okay, well, wind
anybody
out of
ever
my
asks
sails. I'm a ship lost at sea.
In case anybody ever asks you, what's your favorite ending to a series? It won't be that one, because that was about as anticlimactic as it can get.
That was the Sopranos right there. Okay. Well, Maru moves on.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a big surprise. I think it was a good series overall. I enjoyed it. Kind of a weird ending to that game overall, but what can you do? Maru moves on to day 3. And then after this, I believe we have Classic versus SOS, a PvP.
That's right. That's all we got to say for that. We're going to have a short break when we come back. SOS versus Classic. Stick around.